SheridanGiorzi.com.
Hi everyone, Sheridan Giorzi, Call Center Operations Management Director and Consulting. I just got off a great call and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that, phase growth planning and, how that works a little bit and how things fall into place, or they could, right? So depending on your line of business, whatever it might be, sometimes as your organization grows its revenue streams and new customers, clients come in, they come in different phases. Maybe you have a gamut of products, a variety of them that come in different shapes and sizes, different costs, right? So each particular client, customer is buying into that particular service or product, and the expectations are different, based on the cost and everything else that goes with it. So as you're growing, you want to make sure that when people have questions or need a certain level of support, that it's tiered. And when I say that it's tiered, I'm really talking about your staff that's handling, these inquiries, and providing some sort of solution with an expectation, hopefully, at the end of the interaction, and making sure that it's correctly and adequately fulfilled, right? So sometimes you have to break up your workforce during this ramp and growth, right? As you're phasing into the next set, or maybe you're scaling down, right? And so you have to make sure that your weapons, your employees, and also whatever the documentation or whatever it is that they're using to fulfill the interaction in the positive way, that they have the right tools, but also the direction. So when you're talking about changing and moving into these type of environments, you have to be able to lead the way, as a clock builder, right? Not a time teller, because the time teller is going to be, telling you what it is that happened, or is happening, kind of like right then. But as a clock builder, you kind of have like the instruments to look into the future, and be a little bit more innovative as far as how you're going to structure this phasing. Hopefully it's up, but it could be down, right? And then that would entail how the communication strategy, would be delivered, and also all the different components during this timeline. So you got to make sure that, you have a strategy that goes along with it, that coincides, with the actions, but also meets the goals and objectives of your planning, right? And so when you're leaning or reshaping, cutting out the unnecessary fat, right? From a lean perspective, Six Sigma, you want to make sure that the focus is on the future, as a clock builder. And you want to make sure that the changes that are happening are communicated in a way, whether it's going to be for leading the organization. And this could mean just processes that are old or no longer needed. Maybe it is a headcount reduction, unfortunately, due to XYZ, right? But you have to look at that in the areas that impacted the reasons why. And you have to address that. And you have to address that immediately. And hopefully, your leadership and management team is well positioned to be able to forecast those changes in personnel, management. It could be a culture thing, it could be a learning and development thing, or it could just be like your forecast, for revenue or whatever it might be. And I'm talking about the private sector, right? Because we're not working off of a budget, we're working off a forecast here in the private sector. We're not doing things, we're chasing the buck. So we want to make sure that when we're doing these changes and phases and growth planning, or maybe even reduction, that we're doing it in a way that is systematic. You have a plan in place, and that you're following through in all the areas, and that you're actually looking at root cause for all of these and having that be an influence on your next steps. Sheridan Giorzi, Call Center Operations Management Director and Consultant. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Stay lean.
SheridanGiorzi.com.